Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the High Elves led by Charix, facing off against the Vampire Counts, who are going to be helmed by Kark. Should be quite a bit of fun, man. We get to see TECLIS in action with Phoenixes, Shadow Walkers, looking to be a pretty spicy build for sure. Now the map is going to be the Imperial Road, a fairly kind of a down-the-line map. It can be a little bit of ambushing here in the woods, and a little bit of cover on the side, but for the most part, it is a brawl. Now for the Elven build, it is going to be some Shadow Walkers. Now what's cool about these guys is if they do get caught by Fellbats or Direwolves or things like that, they do have anti-infantry, which both of those units are, so they're going to be able to fend off attacking harass units pretty effectively, while also putting some respectable damage onto things like Cryptors, Corpse Carts, whatever, right? So really curious to see how these things are used. Now, for the rest of the Elven army, it is going to be TECLIS up in the sky on his bird, and he does have one of my favorite dreaded combos of all time, which is going to be the Fiery Convocation net combo. So basically you net them in place and you nuke them with the Fiery Convocation. It's really, really fun. We do also have another Phoenix here. Arcane Phoenixes are amazing fighters, also pretty good anti-infantry with their little diving bombardment, and the rest of the army is going to be probably one of the best units on the roster in my opinion, which is the Silver Guard. 55 melee defense, respectable melee attack at 31, insane leadership, anti-large, spell resist. I mean, they're just great. Looking at the army of Kark here, our resident Vampire Count champion, he's going to be moving up with an Unholy Legion of the Dead. So it's going to be zombies in the front, backed up by Sternsmen and Corpse Cart Spears. Classic Vampire Count stuff, really. I mean, Vampire Counts don't really deviate too much from their playstyle, in my experience. I mean, they don't have too... I mean, I guess you could. Like, how could they really mix it up? I mean, maybe like a mass ghoul rush or something, but that would just be really, really bad. Double White Kings with Scab Scrates. Scab Scrates are a nice little crowd clearing item, so you pop this on spears and archers and it can do work. Look at Kark with the MLG dodges on the Corpse Cart. This zombie needs a raise, man. He's dodging all those shots from some of the most elite archers the old world has to offer here on the Shadow Walkers. In the backfield, I believe I saw some Blood Knights. Yeah, so Blood Knights, pretty okay. If they can surround some of the big elven monsters, they can certainly drag them down. And Blood Knights are also a decent shock cav unit in general. Even if they're not fighting something big, they still have respectable stats, a good charge bonus, and pretty high weapon strength here at, you can see, currently rocking 50, so not bad. So Vampires move it up, and the Elves going to be forced back, obviously. I'm really curious how this Elven build is going to effectively like clear out like this many like foot-based characters and Blood Knights. I mean, I know TECLIS and the Arcane Phoenix are pretty nasty fighters, so they could in theory maybe just methodically pick off all the characters with the exception of Vlad, but yeah, other than that, Kark's build looks like it's going to be a tough one to crack. I've been in this position as an Empire player many times. Granted, the Empire literally has mortars and, you know, machine guns and and laser beams. I mean, I guess the Elves probably have laser beams too in their magic repertoire, but you guys get the idea. Luminarcs and the Black Lines are also really good, but yeah, a topic for another time. Nice shot right there. Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone does get popped, so he catches Kark a little bit off guard as he tries to get rid of some of the supporting elements. And now we do have the two Silver Guard up in the point, going to be providing more capture weight for sure than these zombies. Silver Guard are going to be 5 capture weight each. Zombies are 2, so it's 2, 4, 6, and then when the cavalry get there, it's going to be a little bit different. But I'm really also going to be keeping eyes on how the Shadow Walkers are going to be getting protected. They're kind of like miniature Way Watchers, of course. Charix is one of the best elf players in the entire world for sure. So if he has found some weird niche for Shadow Walkers, or if he's just like memeing here, I'm not sure. But I'm really, really curious about it actually. So we see the two Phoenixes look like they want to go after the Blood Knights. Maybe do a bit of a dive. That'd be very risky though, diving into the anti-large. Meanwhile, Kark is going to be getting aggressive on the back objective. So we see the Legions of the Night moving in. So zombies, Sternsmen, skeletons, the works all heading towards objective 3 right now. So that is going to be a spot that certainly needs to be defended. Rangers on their way up. Rangers pretty good at clearing out chaff units. And now we get the Phoenixes diving in. Check it out. So the Phoenixes dive, and they get a nice ripping tear right through that zombie, leaving a nice crater of the undead. And those units are going to be crumbling rather quickly. Well, the Shadow Walkers have been able to effectively keep these Blood Knights at bay. The Blood Knights have not really wanted to commit to an engagement here. They appear to be very, very cautious, kind of sitting over in the shadows. But I'm sure their time will come. Nice shot there in the back. Does kind of tickle some of the Blood Knights. And another Phoenix. Oh, look at the Fiery Convocation. Oh, man, that did some good damage against the Sternsmen as well. The Forbidden Charix plays. The Elven meta. It is coming here. So Fireborn are out. Fireborn versus Blood Knights. I believe Blood Knights do lose that in a vacuum. But it's not that they do badly, but the Fireborn just have the physical resist. And I believe just have a better stat line as well. Granted, the Undead have access to healing too. So it kind of evens things out a little bit. Nice net right there on the Blood Knights from TECLIS. Beautiful. That's going to be mitigating the effectiveness of their charge bonus. So now we get the big charge coming in from these Knights right here. The Fireborn boys getting a really, really nice engagement. And these Blood Knights are in some serious danger. On the other hand, looking at the objectives, it looks like the Undead do own all 3, just about. The back objective barely being held on by the High Elves. These Rangers trying their best to clear it off and maintain the capture weight for the Elves, but it looks like with the corpse cart coming in, the vampire counts might be able to flip this one, so things are certainly getting quite crunk indeed. Other Blood Knight unit comes in with a little bit of a sandwiching charge. Skeleton support as well. Fireborn holding on well, though. The regrowth keeping them in the fight. Though Master of Beguilement from Vlad certainly lowers their stats quite a bit, but those two big Arcane Phoenixes are heavy-duty fighters. I mean, Arcane Phoenixes themselves cost almost 2,000 gold, so they're really turning the tide against these Blood Knights here, which are barely holding on. But yeah, they're just not able to hang with that Monster and Fireborn combo. The backfield Shadow Walkers running, being chased by some zombies, and these are actual zombies, so good trigger discipline here from the High Elf player, doing his best to not waste ammo into those bad boys, but ultimately it looks like the two Blood Knights getting smashed horribly by that High Elf Monster Squad and the Fireborn. That is going to be a big turning the tide, because that's an expensive investment. Blood Knights cost 1,700 gold, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like Blood Knights should get like some sort of I don't want anything to get the Grail Knight treatment, right? Because Grail Knights are just disgustingly overpowered now. But like something to make them a little bit maybe lower model count, more elite. I like the direction of that for like those type of units. But again, I would like it to be, you know, coincide with the lore. Is it lore accurate? Is that how they are in lore? Are they more numerous? Are Dragon Princes more regimental, or are they more elite? You know, I'd be curious to kind of hear about that. Anyways, now the regrowth going down here, and now these cavalry going to be charging into the back of the Sternsmen, or at least they thought about it. Looks like they're still trying to get away from the clutches of some zombies and skeletons. And despite things looking pretty good for the Elves in that trade with the Blood Knights, it's going to be tough for them to kill these White Kings and Vlad. Like very tough. I love seeing the Arcane Phoenixes being used as the with the Vortexes, though. I think that it's a pretty underrated ability. You can see it does some good damage against the Sternsmen there, also clears out some zombies. And now TECLIS going to be pecking away at one of the corpse carts here, trying to get rid of some of the vampiric support, while the healed up Fireborn, man, it's as if they barely took any. They only lost 14 models in that whole scrap. Those regrowths have been super clutch. Who needs Larry, right? You can bring your boy TECLIS. You know, so the nerd, he certainly packs some magic, to say the least. Shadow Walker is still ripping good shots, shooting into Cryptors, which is exactly what they want to be doing, being pushed back by zombies still, though. You could honestly commit the Shadow Walkers to a quick fight. They would probably be able to kill the zombies pretty expediently, I would say. Granted, Vlad, it looks like he's just kind of been lurking in the back, perpetually dropping zombie summons, but now we start to see some elite Elvish infantry coming out, so Pyramid Company going to be on their way. All the Dragon Princes continue to fight in the pits. Cryptors will do some nice, saturated armor-piercing damage against them, so clearly they don't want to stay there for too long, as another unit of Cryptors does come out, and Kark looks like he has broken the curse of not capturing his back objectives while he advances. If you guys remember Kark from any of our tournaments, I believe he's in the top 3 in the world right now, top 3 or top 4. But one of his signature things that was always something that we laughed about was that he just was so bloodthirsty to kill his opponents that he would often not capture his back objective while he just blitzed his foes. Always a good time. So Arcane Phoenix here, poking away at the corpse cart with some nice cycle charging, but the two White King characters coming in to try and push off the Phoenix. While TECLIS moves in and gets a rear charge, probably going to help lead to the crumbling of many of these undead units. So Skeletons here, Cryptors, and Cryptors going to be in a little bit of danger, as a very healthy unit of Dragon Princes has got a sandwiching charge. While on the backside, the Rangers doing their job, barely taking any damage against the chaff units. They have a pretty good melee defense at 36 and also 20% physical resist. So against like good quality infantry, they might not last forever, but against things that have innate low melee attack against their melee defense and also don't hit hard in the first place, these Rangers are just going to be, that's what they were born and bred to do, which is to clear out chaff units. I remember how excited High Elf players were when, or at least a couple High Elf players I played with, when the High Elves got Rangers, having a cheaper infantry choice, but I guess a lot of them felt they were still too expensive at 600. So Fiery Convocation once again ripping through. Looks like it did some okay damage against those monsters infantry, and TECLIS is very tough to kill. He's obviously got the various ward saves that come in tandem with being an Arcane Phoenix or riding on an Arcane Phoenix, but he probably does have the Potion of Koroi also. Yeah, there it is. It heals them, it gives them ward save. It is a very good item, especially in the late game, because it does add timers to your cooldowns, but when you're like in long windows of waiting for cooldowns and whatnot anyways, like, it's not a huge deal. But who would have thought this elf build would actually like trade well here? I mean, when I saw two Shadow Walkers and double Arcane Phoenix, I've seen the double Arcane Phoenixes work, but the Shadow Walkers are also a massive investment as well, and it seems to be working well. Kark has got a nice grinding position on the middle, though, and he is getting to the point where he would win. I'm pretty sure, as it currently stands, he would probably win on just one objective. But the Elves are really getting good momentum, and they still have a lot of time to work with. Although, are they going to be able to break through Vlad and the White King's capture weight? I mean, the idea is just going to be crumbling down all the Cryptors and supporting units and zombies, and then just outcapping them, and maybe just surrounding them with some infantry and just, calling it a day. Back here, we do see High Elves holding on. Kark still maintaining his aggression. His Skeleton Warriors do head back here, but the Brave Rangers of the High Elf Empire doing well. And hey, the fourth quarter Shadow Walkers coming in, looking extra cool with their hoods and their dual-wielding blades. I always thought Shadow Walkers were one of the cooler looking. Shadow Warriors in general, I just think are super rad. to be fair, High Elves do have some cool looking units. I have to give it up as much grief as I give them. I do think they got some nice style. Now here in the back, we do get the Direwolves being called out. Direwolves coming to battle the double Reavers, who appear to be pressuring the back objective. And the Direwolves will nibble very effectively on these Archer Reavers, who did not get the charge on them. So a little bit of a misplay. Those Archers could have potentially charged back. Maybe ran over those Direwolves and gotten a more favorable trade. But in the 2v1, they might still be able to win it. Zombies getting completely... no, those are actually Skeletons. Getting completely surrounded here as we do get the Shadow Walkers moving up. And Shadow Walkers should be able to cap it. And this is looking like a rock-hard Elven triple cap at this point. Currently, we see the value lead. Obviously, the Vampires do have access to healing, but so too do the High Elves. Potion of Koroi, we've seen multiple regrowths. Arcane Phoenixes have natural rebirths as well. Not TECLIS, I do not believe his can undergo the rebirth, but the other Arcane Phoenix, it can do some work for sure. So Dire Pack being called in, not a bad choice at all. Dire Pack is an excellent counter against these Reaver Archer units. But now we get to see the Shadow Walkers in action. Will the Shadow Walkers be effective enough to really cut through these chaff doggos? Although it looks like the Hounds have certainly got taste for something else as they run through that loose formation like it's nobody's problem. But the Shadow Walkers, if left to their own devices, are probably going to find a way to flip that point. Now in the back, does Kark have any sort of play back here? It does not look like it. The Rangers and the Shadow Walkers should be able to hold it. With Swordmasters of Hoeth coming in, the elite of the elite. Some of the best great weapon units in the entire game. They do have the deflecting Jedi blades. So if you guys don't know this, they do have a shield block chance, so they can basically swing their swords in the air and deflect missiles, which I think is incredibly cool. Now they're going to be moving up, clearing off that back point. Middle one looking like it's owned by the Elves as well. And as it stands, Kark would win on one. I mean, if he can maintain that back objective somehow, he could pull Vlad and company back there. But I mean, I think like that makes it a little bit easy for the Elves to focus everything there. So he's going to continue his pressure on objective number 2 here. Dragon Prince is getting a little bit worn down. The classic Vlad Death Star, not easy to stop. Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone also is going to be buffing their stats. So the White King's currently pretty damn jacked, 49-53, with almost 100 leadership, so it doesn't look like they're going to be going anywhere soon. But I would wager that the Swordmasters of Hoeth will then make their way to the middle objective, and they're going to be giving it some trouble. Shadow Warriors up here, Shadow Walkers, excuse me. Got to put some respect on their name with 158 kills, currently sitting at 1,500 value. That is not bad at all, my friend. They're grinding pretty well here, and we do see the old Arcane Phoenix getting in there and nibbling away as the birds descend from the heavens and easily going to be leading to the crumbling of these units. In response, Kark going to be sending zombies and skeletons. Is it just me, or every time you hear someone say in response, you just are waiting to have something counterspelled in Magic? It's like one of those like just things that you can never forget, man. It always sticks with you. Cursed blue players, the true villains of Magic. You know, people say mono black is villainy, but you know, I think mono blue is probably the most evil possible, or blue in tandem with something else. You guys get the idea. So back objective here, objective number 3 is going to be flipped for the Elves. It looks like the Arcane Phoenix is running a little bit of interference to make sure the Elf capture weight does maintain. Vlad von Karstein, though, he's causing some problems here, and you have to remember there is a big points advantage for Kark at the moment, but. That point train is going to be stopping now, as it looks like he is in a triple cap situation. We get the Pyramid Company moving in. And hey, if there's anything that's going to be able to do okay against foot-based armored characters, it is going to be the Swordmasters of Hoeth. So they move in, they got their swords out, looking very Lord of the Rings. And we will see what kind of work they can do against the zombie hordes. Looking rad. White King's in there. I believe the Corpse Guard is still pretty healthy, so that's going to be a little bit problematic for sure, making the undead much more effective than they normally would be. But the Pyramid Company is still at the ready as well, so them sandwiching in might be enough to finish the job. Back objective not being pressured by Kark anymore, and currently objective number 3 looking like the Bird Squad is able to get the job done. Intercepting the Crypt Horrors, Arcane Phoenixes do faire damage, so that's going to give them bonus damage against Crypt Horrors, and also it just helps to break the leadership of some of these zombies, just having a big scary monster there and whatnot. More doggos on the way up, but the point at which Kark would be winning on just one objective has passed, so he would need to re-wrestle some of these objectives here, which I don't see being an easy feat. The Elite Infantry, how are they doing? The Swordmasters, what happened? Oh, they get wins. They might have gotten Winds of Death while I was looking away. I think that's what happened. Did he have Winds of Death? He doesn't. Wow. It's just straight up those White Kings and Vlad. And Vlad, of course, has good AP. He doesn't hit very hard, but his armor-piercing values are very respectable, so you got to watch out for that. TECLIS up here. Pecking Vlad, doing a little bit of damage, and he has connected with Vlad at least once in that engagement. The Elves probably have enough of a value lead, though, that they can kind of just move units up to objective 2 for the rest of the game, and I don't think the Vampire Count's Foot Core is going to be enough to really take that back. You can also see here that Charix is going to be reinforcing objective 3, so he's sending units from the home and all the way across to make sure it's going to take extra long for the Vampire Counts to wrestle this one back. And Zombies and Skeletons only have 2 cap weight. Crypt Horrors, of course, do have the same cap weight as Monsters Infantry, but Yeah, the Arcane Phoenix still going to be a pain as well. Currently looking at 344 kills, 1,700 value. It's paid for itself just about. I think it's in that range of having paid for itself. And now the Shadow Walkers are back out. Not going to have too many good targets, but I would imagine the Elf player probably didn't have too many good choices as it pertains to, what to resummon here. And man, TECLIS is going raid boss here, dude. He's taking on Vlad von Karstein head up. Actually not doing bad considering all the support that's nearby. Although Vlad, it looks like he is getting Samurai Jedi slapped here by these Swordmasters. So they are able to help crumble down the zombies. The White Kings are also getting a little bit low. So Potion of Croy probably coming off cooldown soon. TECLIS going to continue his cycle charging if he can. A couple spears do make it up to the point, but it looks like the Undead finally going to be wrestling back objective number 3, but not before the Elves do pull it back. Is Kark actually going to find a way to get back in this? I'm seeing the cap weight here and the back objective, but he's going to have to do it really soon if he wants to. Does he have anything sneaky going towards objective 1? It doesn't look like it. I'm looking around to see. There it is. All right, the old Dire Pack's on their way. I thought maybe like Feasters in the Dusk or some of those like sneaky stalking ghouls maybe were heading that way. No, doesn't seem to be the case. Nonetheless, right here, Swordmaster is finally getting worn down, and Pure Main Company as well. The inexorable tide of the night certainly causing quite a bit of pressure on the middle objective. But now another unit that's going to take them about 45 minutes to kill, which is the dreaded Silverin Guard. So Silverin Guard making their way in. Corpse Cart finally getting worn down by the Shadow Walkers. And the Shadow Walkers themselves will be another, relatively difficult unit to remove. I mean, they're not the tankiest, but they still do have melee defense over 40 with very good leadership, so they can hang in there. So Charek's going to be moving in, maybe doing an attack on the Corpse Cart. Nope, looks like he's going to go after Vlad once again. So he's just going straight for the head of the snake here. Back objective still owned by the High Elves, which is insane. I thought they would have lost this one a long time ago, man. But those Silverin Guard are just prison shanking down these Cryptors. They're weak binding right now, 25 leadership. Probably going to be going down soonish, especially in tandem with the Arcane Phoenix fire damage that's nearby. We also, I want to keep tabs. Is he going to get the rebirth? Okay, we got to watch this. It's very low. Arcane Phoenix's rebirth, I believe, procs at, oh no, it got the instant dodge. Oh no, there's a chance that it instantly dies. That feels bad when that happens. It always seems like the heal goes up, but every now and then it doesn't. So Kark actually manages to muscle this back. I was like looking at the game earlier. I was like, oh, I guess we might as well just fast forward through this. It's kind of looking like it's a foregone conclusion here. But that Vlad foot core, man, is very scary. Are the Elves going to lose this one? No way. TECLIS, it might actually have to finish off Vlad here to get this one back. So we get Reaver Archers coming out. Reaver Archers, not a bad hit and run unit. They can pressure the objectives. They can kite these various Hound units and also fight them in combat if they need to. You can see for an Archer unit, they're able to charge in and do some good work against the Dire Wolves. And now Shadow Walkers are on their way in. But guys, it suddenly looks like Kark can win this on 2 objectives. Oh my god. What a crazy game. I did not expect it to go like this. So TECLIS swooping in, getting a little bit of crumbling action here. The Elves do pull a little bit of capture weight. More Reavers on their way. Vlad's super low. That bird back there going down certainly is a tough loss. But it looks like the Elf player was kind of holding some reinforcements on the back point to make sure it didn't get back capped. But now it's going to be moving those onto the middle as the Master of Beguilement is active, putting TECLIS's melee attack down to 6. But man, Vlad is sitting at 1,500 HP. The Von Karstein ring is not with him. He did not bring it. He just brought Blood Drinker. And honestly, I think that's probably the right way to bring Vlad anyways. Spears on their way down. More spears. Cryptors are hustling, looking like they're wielding giant hockey sticks in the distance with my good old graphics, which will be getting updated soon. I just had a wretched cold this last week, so I didn't have time to get my new rig all set up and everything, but we will soon. We will soon indeed. So Shadow Walkers are here. The Elves recaptured the point. Vlad von Karstein is being unsummoned. Oh my god, the unsummoned in the heat of combat. That's so funny. Oh, the bird's coming in, and he just barely escapes. He just does. It's a 10-second timer now, so that was actually very much like a lore moment, like Vlad or some evil, mustache twirling vampire sitting there like, yeah, I'll be back. And, he just narrowly gets away from the hero, right? And lives to be a villain in another episode of whatever show you're watching. It's pretty much how it always goes. The mustache twirling Vlad MLG plays. But I don't think Kark has too many chances of getting this at this point. He is sending some desperation doggos to that back point, but the Elves should be able to take this. Without Vlad here, we see TECLIS just rampaging, dude, showing his boy, his brother Tyrion, who the true muscle is in the High Elf Empire. It was a fun game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one as much as I did. I looked at it and I was like, I didn't watch it beforehand, but as I was watching the game with you guys, I was like, it's going to be one-sided. And then wait a second, there's a comeback, and there was some cool Phoenixes, some really cool units being showcased, 1,800, 22, 2,000, and 3,000 on TECLIS. Really fun. And man, look at the Fireborn. Yeah, the double Blood Knight thing too. That was brutal. I did not expect those Blood Knights to get hammered that hard. But really, Blood Knights have really poor armor piercing values, and they also were fighting into physical resist. So there's a couple things that just wasn't good for them. GG, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one, and we'll see you all on the other side.